Hello and good evening. Welcome back to IIRL. And we are very much in the closed season, I guess. 2 races left of the campaign. This 23 race season will culminate next week and will finish at the beautiful Abu Dhabi track in the Yas Marina track in Abu Dhabi. This week we have 3 streams for you: Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday night, 7:30 PM GMT, as usual at Jeddah. If you've been following our streams, last week we crowned 2 drivers champions in 2 of our tiers. In tier 2 we crowned IRL Hyper champion. Unless Appy makes a miraculous return, which we're not expecting, but if he wants to, the opportunity's there for him. And on Thursday night we crowned FRHMB the Assist Tier 1 champion. Now we can crown a champion for no assist here tonight. However, it's not quite as easy as you think. Amos Foley leads the championship by 34 points, which means all he would need is a 2nd or a 1st place finish tonight, and he would win the championship regardless of what Irosh J in the Alfa Romeo does tonight. However, Fairley isn't racing, so Ross has a good opportunity here to reduce the gap at the top. A win and fastest lap, which is Ross's ideal, perfect outcome here tonight, will reduce the gap at the top to 8 points going into the final race. However, if Ross doesn't close that gap by at least 8 points tonight, then Fairley will be crowned champion. That is the situation. Ross needs at least 8 points, which is a 6th place finish. So if Ross finishes 7th or below, or fails to finish, fails to score, Fairley will be crowned Drivers' Champion here tonight. So we'll have to keep an eye on Ross's progress. Good evening to you, Chives, and good evening to you, Dayman. Hope you are really, really well. Is Discord down? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe try rebooting or something, or try fiddling around with something to try and get Discord working. But to my knowledge, Discord isn't broken. Yeah, good evening to you all. It's a brand new Tuesday, it's a brand new week. In the very bowels of February now. Time flies when you're having fun. 6 weeks ago we welcomed the brand new year. By that moment we had no idea who was going to win the championship. We know 2 champions already, and the 3rd could be decided here tonight. Ghost, with the 1st flying lap of tonight's festivities, is a 1 minute 29.1, and Lil Semp, who drives in Assist Tier 2, is, I believe, making his no assist debut tonight, and not having the best start, missing a nose on his 1st flying lap. Thank you for the follow, Timothy Lee. Follower number 267. Thank you all for your continued support followers have been flooding in thick and fast recently, of which you can bet we are very, very grateful for that, so thank you all for your continued support. If you do fancy driving on either Tuesday, Thursday or Sunday, and you're over the age of 18, let us know. We'll get you into the league, make sure you're clean, and if there's not a full-time seat for you, grab you a reserve seat. There's only 2 races left of the season, and there will be a shorter season coming up after this. So it's not like we're done for the whole game until the next game comes out. Still plenty of racing left in IIRL until the release of the new F1 game. Here comes Ryan now, across the line, 28.9. And goes fastest. What about Pete? He's coming through Sector 2. It's a very long track, not in terms of lap time. It's not the slowest lap time you'll see on the calendar. That'll be Belgium, around the 1 minute 44s. But this does have the most corners, even though it's just a lot of straights with a few left and right turns, which won't provide too many obstacles for any of the drivers. The walls, on the other hand, are a different story. Comes Pete into the pits, not wanting to finish that lap. We'll go on a track tour. Just deciding who to go on the track tour with. We'll go on board with Dayman. He's just coming to the end of a lap. Have a look who's coming to start a lap. Ferrari of Prev. Go on board with him. Cummins 28.3. New benchmark to beat. And here comes Prev. I'll take you through this beautiful track. Long run down to turn 1. DRS assistance. This is an action point coming into the first couple of corners. Very tight chicane. You can cut these curves, but don't be too eager on the curb, as you will get a warning or an invalidation. Up towards turn 4 now. Very tricky. You can run a little bit wide at turn 5. Track limits are a little bit dodgy on this track. Through this sweeping S section, which many drivers absolutely hate, but when you nail it, you feel like an absolute god. DRS assistance, that is out of turn 12, believe it or not. Already had more corners than the entire Austrian Red Bull ring. Through the very tricky turn 13, pick your braking point, your turn in and your throttle application. Really important to get a good lap in here. Into another of these chicanes with very tight barriers and track limits. And into this sweeping section, turn 19, 20 and 21. Into yet another chicane. This one a little bit more straightforward. You can run wide off that right hand curb there, but careful of that right hand curb, the flat out one. It's more like a bump going over a sleeping policeman, so yeah, be careful of that. It's flat out through these left handers all the way to the final corner, where you can actually gain a lot of time by nailing it, and that is turn 27, believe it or not. DRS assistance to the line. Prev goes 4th with that attempt. So there you have it, that is your track, and with 9 minutes of the session already gone, 10 of the 19 drivers have set a lap time. It's quite a tricky track for invalidations, as Rapid Supra 94 has just proven, going a little bit over the curb and invalidating his time. That means, in case you don't know, that this lap time does not count, however fast or slow it may be. You'll have to wait until your next time round to set a time on the board. The bottom 4 will be going out of this session, including anyone that potentially crashes out with terminal damage. Rapid Supra coming around to start a new lap. We've got Wiggles, Semp, Connor, all on out laps, all on flying laps, sorry. Appy and Edward Flew, all on out laps. Plenty of action. Still got SLR Block and Padge in the pits. Padge is struggling with wheel force feedback, almost to the point where he couldn't race. So I'll have to monitor Padge. If he seems like he's struggling, it will just be his wheel. And I'm not going to heap a huge amount of pressure onto SLR Connor here tonight, but it is very well documented in Discord that this is very much Connor's track to be beaten at. Supra just coming up to a Williams in front, and thankfully the Williams just gets out of the way. May have just distracted Supra there, but it doesn't look like he was intentionally blocked, as Roscoe's fastest on a 28.1, quickly beaten by 200ths by Ghost, who had an impressive showing last week on his debut at Portimao. Unfortunately, a couple of unfortunate events left him to only an 8th place finish. Hopefully for him, he can have a better race tonight. Comes Supra now across the line and goes 9th fastest. Pete on his first attempt goes 11th. Dr. Edward. That guy has joined. We did know that that guy was joining late for the race, but it turns out he'll get maybe a lap or two in quali. So now the bottom 5 will drop out. Edward invalidating his lap time. And with the bottom 5 now going out, it's really important that you... doesn't matter if it's the quickest lap time you've ever set in your life, just make sure it's clean. Get a lap on the board. It'll put you under a bit less pressure for your second run. SLR Connor 6th fastest, 1 minute 28.9. You will notice that there's usually in this tier there's not as much difference between first and last in terms of the times. At the moment it's currently 4.3 seconds, but it's only because it's really difficult to hook up a lap here. Very difficult to get every corner nailed perfect to a T the way you want it. So you might find that the gap between first and last is a little bit bigger on tracks like these, and tracks like Monaco, for instance, and Baku, where it's very easy to make mistakes. You see a lot of drivers taking that nice wide line through the final corner to start their lap. Pete has retired. I believe that's in the pits. Can't see a yellow flag out on track, so I believe that's in the pits, so he won't have crashed anywhere. Mr. Wiggles also following suit and retiring in the pits nice and early. A little bit wide there into the S section, and Badger's backed off his time. Here comes Appy now. His teammate's up there in P5, hoping to get somewhere close to his teammate, if not beat him. One of the first things in Formula 1, make sure you try and beat your teammate as much as you can. Let us know in the chat, what do you think of this track? Have you driven it yet? It was one of the later releases this year. You may not have driven an awful lot of it, but from your experience, let us know in the chat, what do you think of it? Personally, I absolutely love it, and Appy is absolutely loving this slipstream he's getting from his teammate. We've seen this all season between Appy and Prev on Tuesday nights. They absolutely love giving each other the slipstream in quali, and sometimes even work together in the race to fend off the advances from the drivers behind. And we'll wait and see where this lap time puts APS Appy. Across the line, looks decent. It's P8. Should see him relatively safe at the moment, but still a few minutes left in the session. People can still improve their time. It's not over yet. That guy's still in the pits now, so even though he has joined quali a little bit earlier than we thought he might, he may not get a lap in and may start at the back of the grid. Currently in the drop zone we have Dayman on a 30.0, Chives on a 31.4, Tidiest Bear on a 32.5, Padge on a 43.6. And good evening to you, Mr. Wiggles. Hope you're well. At the top we got Ghost, 200ths quicker than Ross, who is, by all intents and purposes, not too much quicker than Mr. Wiggles and Clements as well. Only a couple of tenths separating top 4 drivers. As Clements goes fastest, improves by over 0.2 of a second, and pops his Williams at the top of the standings as it stands. Doesn't mean too much in this session. The bottom 5 will be leaving us, as Dayman, I believe, has crashed at the final corner. There you see it. There is his carcass of a Haas, as we see a Mercedes getting very out of shape in the final corner. That'll be Little Samp. So Dayman will be leaving us. He's in the bottom 5, so it shouldn't interrupt anyone else's plans. Opportunity for Tidiest Bear and Padge to improve on their lap times. Chives and that guy still in the pits and in the drop zone, so they'll need to come back out on track very shortly. But it doesn't look like they'll get out in time, so I think Chives will stay 17th. That guy will stay in 20th, although he has just come out of the pits, waiting to see if he can get around the track in enough time. Very close at the top, currently not too close at the bottom. Need big gains as Cool Assassin retires. Comes Tidiest Bear now to the line. He's a 1.5 seconds up and just squeezes into the 1 minute 30s, but that is not good enough for him. Padges into the pits, where he will start in 19th place. Have to see if that guy actually manages to make it round to start a new lap. It will be very, very close, but I'm not sure they'll make it, unfortunately for him. Wow, Chives, I take that as a massive compliment. You're watching the stream, so you forgot to go out on track. Well, you can watch the stream for another half hour, because unfortunately you'll be leaving us as Ryan goes quickest. 4th driver into the 1 minute 28.1s, and that guy, as close as he was, just a couple of seconds away from setting a lap time, he will not manage to set another lap time unless this game glitches for some reason. That's invalid out of the first corner anyways. So that's it for that guy. Padge for Chives, for Tidiest Bear, and for Dayman. We've got a flat tyre and the car was undrivable, lost it into the barrier. That is unfortunate. Everyone on an invalid lap, it would seem. Rev's on a slow lap, so Ryan with the quickest lap time of tonight so far. Your voice is too good. It's very kind of you. A bit creepy, but a bit very kind of you. Thank you. And hello, Tomino. Ghost in the race. Hope you have a better race today. We hope the same too. Very unfortunate. We were talking earlier. You got quite unlucky in the last race with a couple of bits of contact that can't really say was your fault, so hopefully get a bit more fortune here tonight. Very difficult track, not only to keep your lap time valid, as we've already seen tonight, but to keep it out of the barrier. Very easy just to nudge the wall and give yourself a little bit of damage. So the person who wins this race will most likely be the one who manages to avoid carelessly hitting the wall and getting time penalties. Time penalties are very common in Sector 1. So you need to be careful of that. Good evening to you, Pajestic and Aurays here in the stream this evening. And thank you for the follow, DCL William99. Appreciate that. Follower 269 already. SL O'Connor using the medium tyres, that's why he's a little bit slower. Didn't think of that, but now we know. He's the only one to use the medium compound tyre, everyone else ditching a set of soft tyres. The strategy for the race in terms of tyre wear and tyre choice should be a simple soft medium or medium to soft. So it won't be too many strategy faux pas if you can't make it through to the mediums in Q2. Leaving us in the session, that guy Padge, Chives, Tidiest Bear and Dayman. Gonna full focus, absolutely understand. Wish you all the best, Mr. Ghost. And as Q2 gets underway, strategy takes centre stage. SL Block struggling with internet connection, perhaps. SL O'Connor is the first one out of the pits, opting for the soft tyre, probably realising that it doesn't really matter what tyre you use in this session. So ditching the mediums in Q1, flat out on a couple of set of softs in Q2, all hunky-dory. Clement's also out on the track, opting for the slower, more durable medium compounds. Some drivers may prefer starting on the mediums just because you can eke out a couple of extra laps, and then towards the end you have a chance for fastest lap and the extra point in the race. Other drivers will get through to Q3 on soft tyres because not quite quick enough to get through on the mediums, and there's no shame in that. But on a track like this, it won't matter too much. Don't expect to see the hard tyres tonight in case there's an early safety car, maybe around lap 2 or 3, maybe on the first lap, who knows. And some drivers go into the pits, put a set of the hard tyres on for the rest of the race to avoid losing 20 seconds in a pit stop. But that is a long way away. Still got plenty of laps to be set in Q2 and Q3. Driving as much of the track before crossing that start-finish line as Connor. You'll see a lot of drivers do that at certain tracks. This is no different. Extremely planted through that S section. Dropping down a couple of gears to 5th for the final couple of corners there through that section. Dropping down to 3rd, short shifting into 4th. Remember, all these drivers, no assists whatsoever, no traction control, manual gears, no anti-lock brakes, no racing line. It is just car and the driver, no assists to get in the way. Looks like a very planted and confident lap time. You will see a lot of drivers running wide out onto that curb on the right hand side of the track there, through that chicane. The track does allow you to do that without getting a warning, so however, if you cut it too much, it will penalise you. So you will see a lot of drivers doing that. Don't be alarmed. That is normal. Across the line, it's a 28.0, which is the fastest we've seen tonight so far by just under half a tenth. Ghost with an invalid lap time on his medium compound tyre. Flew does a 29.2. Lil Semp joins his teammate and makes it a 1-2 in the early portions of Q2 on a 28.9. Cool Assassin, nice to see him back. Hasn't raced for a couple of weeks at Imola and Portimao. So welcome back. Goes second fastest. Mr. Wiggles on the medium tyres doing a 29.0. Only a second away from SL O'Connor. On the mediums that's not too bad at all. SLR block now through Sector 1, opting for the red mark soft tyres. The soft tyres are quicker. Some people may want to get through on the medium tyres for an advantage in strategy. Just personal preference, really. Getting very close to the wall there on the exit. You really can throw this car into these corners. Obviously keep it out of the barrier, but you really can sort of fling it in there and just trust that the car will stick. Looks very fast, this does SLR Block's flying lap at the moment. To see how fast. Coming out the final corner. Nicely on the throttle. Taking a nice tight line. Shortest run down to the line possible, 28.3. Puts himself up in second. Not too shabby. Ross opting for the mediums. See where he stacks up between Wiggles and Ghost. Just running wide there at the S corner, but the game doesn't invalidate it. A little bit inconsistent at this track with the track limits, but there's nothing we can do about it. It's just the way the game is coded. Currently Mr. Wiggles is on a 29.0, effectively a 29.1, and Ghost is on a very low 1 minute 29.2, so not too much between two medium runners. See where Ross can slot in as he finishes his lap time. Plug in the barrier on the left hand side of the track just to try and reduce the amount of track you actually race on. Might make you a couple of milliseconds quicker, but all these fractions help. Across the line, and he goes quickest of the medium runners by, well, not much at all. Look at that, 17 thousandths of a second. Absolutely nothing at all. But crucially is 2 places to the good of those on the medium tyres. We've got loads of drivers still to set a lap time. Ryan is coming through sector 1. Got an Alfa Romeo of Supra coming to the line, and he goes 9th. But that is a little bit slower than everyone else. I'm sure that will be beaten in due time. Next up, we've got what looks like a Williams or an Alpine coming to the line. Could be Clements. And into the pits that driver comes. Another 3 drivers coming to the line now. Flew starting a new lap. Pete coming into the pits. And Kemments going 8th fastest, losing out to Ghost by 1 millisecond. Those are the differences on this track sometimes. Ghost in the pits has fitted a set of soft tyres on now, so I expect to see a lot of others do the same. Mr. Wiggles has followed suit. Nice lap from Ryan, see where he can put that McLaren on the grid. His teammate Page is out in Q1, so he is the sole remaining McLaren, and he goes 3rd fastest on a 28.4. What about the 2 Ferraris? They are yet to set a valid lap time on the board. Prev is on a flyer. Appy is just coming round to start his lap, just coming around the final corner now. SLR Block is back out on track, as is Cool Assassin, 2nd and 4th place respectively. And APS Appy comes around to start his first flying lap in anger in Q2. 5 minutes left of the session, still plenty of drivers, still plenty of time for the drivers to come in and out again on a new set of tyres if they so desire. Flew goes 4th fastest in the Aston Martin. Nice lap there from the Frenchman. Here comes Prev. Where can he put his Ferrari? It's a good lap. It's 2nd fastest. Nice lap indeed. And what about his teammate? Will it be both Ferraris coming through to Q3? Or will they be separated in qualifying? We've got 7 out of the bottom 8 drivers in the pits. You bear in mind, of course, that track evolution is a thing on this game. The more time drivers are out on the track, the quicker the track gets. There you see Appy just pushing the limits a little bit too much through that chicane and invalidating his lap time. Looked to be a decent lap as well. Unfortunately for him, he will have to go again. We'll stay on board and see if that is now, or if he'll dip into the pits. He'll go for another run. Currently those in the drop zone are Kemments, Supra, Edward, Appy and Pete. Kemments currently missing out on Q3 by 1 millisecond. That is the difference right now between 10th and 11th. Everyone now on the soft compound tyre. No one's going to be worrying about what tyres they're using. So O'Connor retires, sitting pretty up there with just the 1 run in Q2. That may be all he needs to make his way to the final part of qualifying here this evening. These are the tyres they have used for their best lap times. However, all of those drivers on the mediums are out on softs. So expect to see those times beaten. That is, if they can keep their lap time valid, of course. Appy sets the track map purple in Sector 2. Clearly pushing his hardest. The Flying Dutchman, we call him. His Flew retires in the pits in 5th place. Might be a little bit on the edge of his seat if he'll get through to the final part of qualifying, but that we'll have to wait and see. Here comes the Alpine across the line. Appy does make it in, but only just. 10th fastest for him. Dr. Edward, that Alpine we saw just coming across the line, he's starting a new lap. Hasn't got one on the boards. So the pressure is on now with only a couple of minutes left of the session. If you get any bits of damage now, if you touch the wall and ruin your lap, it could be curtains for you in Q2. Looks pretty good there from Edward. Not hitting the wall on the exit, very easily done. Especially in the race, with heavy fuel loads, your car's going to slosh around. Going to get a lot more understeer. But in qualifying, you don't need to worry about any of that. It's how fast can you go. Ross has gone second fastest. Wiggles has gone into third fastest. Those medium runners now getting lap times on the board that are significantly faster, and it's putting a lot of these people like Assassin, Semp and Appy in massive pressure. Edward gets in to the next part of qualifying as it stands and has pushed Appy into the drop zone. Ryan has gone 7th fastest, or no, Cool Assassin's gone 6th fastest, sorry, and that's pushed Flew down to 8th. SLR Block has taken charge of this session. Appy comes into the pits and he will not be making it through to the next part of qualifying. Ghost has invalidated, well, this is his outlap, so he's got one run to make it through, has Ghost. Clements has invalidated his lap time, so he will have one more attempt at trying to get through. Prev is in the pits, Ryan in the pits, Semp is in the pits. All of those are potentially at risk of dropping out. Pete sets his first lap time of the session. It's a 29.3. It's only good for 14th, but he still has another lap at his disposal if he has the energy and the fuel. Still waiting on Ghost and Kemments to set quicker lap times. There you have it. Confirmation Appy is in 11th. Still waiting for Ghost, Kemments, Pete, Supra all on laps. Dr. Edwards also on a lap. Cool Assassin might also be on another lap as well. Around the final corner now comes Rapid Supra. Can he make it through? Yes, he can. 7th place for the Alfa Romeo. Nice lap indeed. Here comes Ghost to the line. Will he make it through? Yes, he will. 2nd fastest into the 27s. We got Pete. Oh, that's very wide. Pushing a little bit too much. Oh, he's disengaged DRS, so I doubt this is going to be a quicker lap from Pete, which means he will not make it through. Kemments crosses the line and goes 12th fastest, but doesn't get through. Flew with that retirement a few minutes ago. Was absolutely the right call, and he squeezes his Aston Martin through to Q3. Here tonight, Dr. Edward in 11th, missing out by just over a 10th of a second. Kemments, Lil Semp, EPS Appy and Pete are the 5 drivers who will be losing in Q3. And you'd have to say, Kemments going out is a bit of a shock. He was up there at the top in the 1 minute 28.1s in Q1. And could only manage a 28.8. That's 7/10 slower than his Q1 best. So you'd have to think that Kemments just couldn't hook up the lap in this session. There you have it. SLR Block and Ghost into the 1 minute 27s. And they take charge of this qualifying here tonight. SLR Connor, Ross, Wiggles, Prev, Cool Assassin, Super Ryan and Flew all making it through to Q3. Dr. Edward, Kemments, Semp, Appy and Pete are the 5 drivers that will be heading out. Of course, they will have a free choice of tyre for the race. Predictions for top 3, says Majestic. Well, we'll get your predictions in the chat nice and quickly as we wait for Q3 to start. Dr. Edward in the chat, I'm driving so bad, lol. It's very easy to invalidate a lap time and make a mistake on this track, especially in that first sector. So, better to have a bad lap here than in the race where the points are on offer. Majestic predicting Connor, Ghost and Ross. Certainly not bad predictions, but we'll have to wait and see if those are accurate predictions in just 12 minutes time. Dayman says Connor, Block and Ross. So some familiar faces out in the predictions in the top 3. Thank you for the follow, WOR Thomas. Appreciate that. We are approaching the end of the first season of IIRL. 23 rounds in this calendar. This is round 22 here at Jeddah. Next week we've got the season finale at Abu Dhabi. Thursday night and Sunday night the title races are over. John B winning on Thursday night last week and IIRL Hyper winning on Sunday night last week. That is unless Appy makes a return to AT2, of course. AMS Fairley will be crowned champion if Ross cannot achieve a 6th place finish or higher. Although realistically you'd have to say Ross has to finish on the podium to give himself a realistic and decent chance to win it next week. So all eyes on Ross for the race, but for quali, well, it's anyone's guess really. SLR Block is first around the track to set a quali lap time. Then we got the Ferrari of Prev and the Mercedes of SLR Connor, followed by the Haas of Mr. Wiggles. Then we got Ross in the Alfa Romeo coming round to start his lap. Then we got the McLaren of Ryan, the Aston Martin of Flew, and then the Red Bull of Ghost. That is the order in which people will be setting lap times. A little bit wide there through the end of the S section for SLR Block, and that is going to put an end to his quali lap time. That one will not count and just gets out of the way of all the other drivers. Very well behaved. Very easy to block another driver in quali on this track, so you don't want to get an unnecessary penalty from the stewards. Prev now will be first to set a new lap time. Yep, as we said, brand new tyre choice, and Dr. Edward says nice things, I can start on mediums. That sometimes is the advantage of starting in 11th or lower. Rapid Supra is on an outlap and has plenty of track space. You can see him going on the right hand side of the track map. Cool Assassin still in the pit, still plenty of time. Here comes Prev and starts it off with a 28.1, nice lap as well, and Connor with a 27.6. That is the fastest time we have seen tonight. Mr. Wiggles does a 28.1 and Ross into the 27s, but not quite close enough to Connor's. He sticks in 2nd place. Ryan's in 5th and Flew comes around in 6th place. What about Ghost coming round? That was in a valid lap time for him, and we know SLR Block had one invalidated too. Both of them on 2nd runs on the same set of soft tyres. Rapid Supra coming around the final corner now to start a new lap. A little bit wide there from Block, but again, as we've seen, it doesn't invalidate you if you go wide on that corner by just a tiny amount. Just missing the apex, lifted off suitably, the game thinks, to avoid an invalidation. That keeps his lap alive, but it won't be the quickest thing we've ever seen from SLR Block on this occasion. However, a nice banker lap is always a nice thing in qualifying. Down to 2nd for the final corner. You do see a lot of drivers doing different things on this track in terms of what gears you go in. I, for instance, stay in 4th. SLR Block goes 5th fastest. Not too shabby, considering he did run off the track a couple of times. Here comes Ghost. Nice tight line to the line and goes 7th fastest. Of course, we know Ghost can drop into the 27s. So, I'm sure we'll see a better lap time from him in the closing minutes. Cool Assassin is on an outlap. Ross, Ryan flew all back into the pits. Supra, an invalid 28.9. As we come to the end of Season 1, Season 2 won't be far away. What we can say is we're going to have an awards stream. It'll probably be maybe a 2 or 3 week break between the end of this season and the start of the next season, just so the owners and the management can get everything sorted, make sure we have a full grid and plenty of reserves. If you want to race and you're watching this stream, either drop us a whisper on Twitch or message the man in the chat, Progestic, with that little sword next to his name. Whisper him. And let us know. You have to be over the age of 18, and of course we'll make sure you're clean and everything. This isn't one of your online social play lobbies. We drive very respectfully here at IIRL, and as a result you see some incredible battles. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll see some of them tonight. Here comes Rapid Supra. Will this lap be rapid? It'll be 8th fastest. Not too bad. Cool Assassin out for his first flying run. Can you race? You're already racing. I have to say, in fact, Dr. Edward has joined partway through the season, but it's almost been like he's always been here. Fitted very well into the group, and your driving has been very impressive, mate. Kudos to you there. Just running over that left-hander inside apex, very easy to do. Seemed also slight. He may even have missed it at home. Yeah, he just run over the curb and got invalidated for that. Ghost is in the pits. Mr. Wiggles is coming into the pits. Whole flood of drivers coming out back onto the track. Got Ryan coming up for his second run. Appreciate it. You can't get rid of me now. We wouldn't want to, mate. We would not want to. Through Sector 1 then, Ryan on his second attempt comes across the Sector 1 split line. He's 4 tenths up. That is a nice buffer to have. He knows that he's 4 tenths up. He can have it on his screen. As it stands, that will drop him to a 28.0, which will put him in 3rd place on the 2nd row of the grid. We've got Prev on a lap and Ross on a lap too. And Cool Assassin may also be on a 2nd run after that invalidated first lap. Block, Wiggles, Connor all on outlaps. In fact, Block has just come round to start a new one. Two minutes left of the session. Still plenty of time for Supra to come out on track, but he needs to do it now. Ghost on track as well. 9 out of the 10 drivers on track. And here comes Ryan now. What can he do? It's a 27.7 and goes onto the front row of the grid. Nice lap indeed. Here comes Ross at the end of his lap and just misses out on a personal best by 2 milliseconds. Prev, this one is invalid for him. SLR Block is not on an invalid lap, but he has disengaged his ERS, so he's just going to back off of this attempt. Let's go on board with our current pole sitter, SLR Connor. Just nudges the wall after invalidating, so we'll have to wait and see if that little nudge has given him some damage that will hinder an opportunity to reduce his time. Comes Flew, I think he was on, yeah, this is a slow lap now. Coming round to start a new one. Ghost also gearing up for one more run. Block starting a new lap. Prev, after that invalidation, on a new lap too. Mr. Wiggles invalidating in Sector 1, and he will not get round in time to start a new lap. Mr. Wiggles, his feet are in the quicksand and he cannot escape from P4. Of course, he can drop lower than that, but Mr. Wiggles, an invalidation when it really matters, stops him decreasing his time. Ryan is in the pits, which means he won't improve from second place. Ross is on a new lap, and SLR Connor, through the first sector of his latest run, is 2 tenths up. Didn't invalidate where he did last time, and managed to avoid contact with the wall where he did a few moments ago. This is really hotting up here. SLR Connor has the opportunity to increase his time, but invalidates coming out of that chicane, which means the pressure now, as Ross invalidates as well in Sector 1. Wiggles has dropped to 5th as Prev does a 27.8 and goes onto the second row of the grid. SLR Block out of the final corner, just nudges the wall on the exit. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. To the line goes 6th fastest, improves his time but not his place. What about Ghost? He's 6 tenths up through the second sector, but a big shunt on the wall. That's going to cost him a chunk of time. To the line, could still go faster here, and he does. 3 milliseconds faster than Prev onto the second row of the grid. What about Cool Assassin? He has had a slow Sector 1 for him, so may not be an improvement. I think he's run out of fuel. Indeed, he has run out of fuel. There you have it. SLR Connor invalidated a couple of times towards the end, but it was his first run that really counted. Assassin, if you are watching, you can retire if you want. Just to... yeah. If you want to, you can. That's fine. Yeah, Connor didn't need his second and third attempts. First attempt was more than good enough. 127.6, the fastest time we've seen tonight. And his reputation here at Jeddah precedes him as he gets pole position. Ryan on the front row of the grid alongside Connor with a 27.7. Then we have Ghost and Prev, only separated by 0.003 of a second in third and fourth. Ross, we know he needs to get higher than 6th if he wants to keep his title challenge alive. He's currently in 5th. And needs to, you'd think, gain some places in the race if he wants to have a realistic shot at taking the championship next week at Abu Dhabi. Mr. Wiggles, Ross's friend and mortal enemy, is on the third row alongside in 6th in the Haas. The AlphaTauri of Block and Aston Martin of Flew, making it 8 different constructors in the top 8. We'll start on row 4. Row 5 will be Rapid Supra in the second Alfa Romeo and the first Alpine of Cool Assassin. 9 different constructors making it through to Q3. And one 25 lap race coming up in around 5 minutes time. Thank you for the follow, Dazza Corden as well. Just caught us in the middle of the Q3 rush there, I do apologise. Hope you are enjoying the stream. Remember, if you do want to race, whisper us on Twitch. If you're over the age of 18, this season may be coming to an end, but there is still plenty of opportunity for you to have a full-time seat for next season, if you want one. Hyper's in the chat. Brand new AT2 champion, so congratulations to you, Hyper. That is, unless Apiasapi makes a miraculous return on Sunday night. And the predictions for Q3, predicted Connor, Ghost and Ross. Dayman predicted Connor, Block and Ross. Only one of those drivers making it through to the top 3. We all know that is SLR Connor. In terms of the constructors, we've mentioned the drivers a few times. Constructors, by no means sorted. Just refreshing. There is a 6-point gap between Mercedes and Alpine. 6 points, which means it could be decided here tonight, but most probably not. Most probably will go on to Abu Dhabi to see which constructor wins the championship on this season. Yeah, we just saw Ghost on the end of your final lap, just nudging the wall on the exit there, a bit like Verstappen. Yeah, very unfortunate. He was 6 tenths up at that point through Sector 2, so it would have been a mighty lap. But we know you have pace, you proved it in Q1, so we're expecting some good stuff in the race. A few minute break, just allow the drivers to do everything they need to do, choose their strategy, set up. If they want to change certain bits of it, fuel loads, etc. Jive still rocking the cockpit cam. Rock on, man. Personally, I could not drive cockpit cam. I have what many people call a weird TV pod offset. If you ever see my camera angle, you may have to blink, rub your eyes and go, did I really just see that? But it works for me. Do you think we have a safety car in this race? I think it's very likely. However, I've also driven league races here where there haven't been a safety car. As we all know, on tight street circuits like this, the person who wins could be the one who keeps it out the wall. And the person who avoids getting time penalties, very easy to do that in one especially. Very easy to hit the wall in sectors 2 and 3, and sector 1 as well. This race poised beautifully. Bottom 10 drivers will have a free choice of tyre, and the race will be getting underway in 30 seconds time. We are expecting a simple medium to soft or soft to medium strategy, so don't expect to see any hard tyres here tonight unless there is a very early safety car on laps 1 to 3 perhaps. You may see some diving in for a set of the hard tyres for the rest of the race in an attempt to avoid a pit stop after the safety car restart, but certainly for now we're not expecting to see anyone on hard tyres. And as we put up the tyre graphic, hopefully I improved right, otherwise I'll look like a big doofus. And indeed, no one on the hard tyres. So, yes. Kind of reassuring that I know what I'm talking about here tonight. 25 laps. Aston O'Connor takes some rounds on the formation lap. Top 10 all starting on the soft tyre, as we already knew. Dr. Edward and Kemments, free choice of course for 11th downwards. Mediums for Dr. Edward and Kemments. Sempenapi on softs, Pete on the mediums, and that guy is disqualified. I wonder what's happened there. He's on the medium tyres anyway, Pete's on the mediums. Dayman on the soft, Tidiest Bear and Chives in 17th and 18th on the yellow mark mediums, and IIRL Padge going for the soft tyre for the first stint of the race. Expect to see those soft runners coming in around about lap 9 or 10. Expect to see those medium runners stay out to around about lap 15 or so. Those are your pit stop windows. And hello Spark, good evening mate, you joined us right at the right time. Formation lap, SL O'Connor is on pole. Got pole by a 1/10 of a second. And I can tell you in fact that was SL O'Connor's 6th pole position of the season. For regular viewers of Tuesday night, Lee and SL O'Connor have had a very intense rivalry in terms of getting pole position, trying to eke each other out as teammates. And Magic, hello mate, hope you're well. Wishing your buddy flew on as normal. Good luck to everyone. Thank you Sebastian44 for the follow. Thank you ever so much, you've joined at the right time. We're about to get underway. Will we see some carnage on lap 1? Will we see a race with no safety cars? Well, there's only one place to be to find out, and that is right here, right now, on this channel, as you are. Red lights are about to go off, and the race is about to get underway. Here you go, 4, 5 lights. We are at Jeddah, and the cars are on their way down to turn 1. It looks like Ghost has had a really good start in the first corner, and he is side by side. Not quite enough room. Oh, a little bit of contact there between SL O'Connor. It looks like there is a lot of carnage at the back. Lots of drivers gingerly making their way through sector 1. Lots of shifting up and down the fields. We've got Ryan at the back of the field. He was in 2nd place. Also, Preva's dropped down. He's in 17th. Mr. Wiggles also losing a lot of places. As Ghost is up to 2nd. Ross is up to 3rd. As it stands, Ross will take the title fight to the next race next week at the season finale. But there are still 25 laps left. We're not quite sure what happened in turn 1. However, judging by the track and the very short run down to turn 1, anything could have happened there. So far, SL O'Connor leads by 1.2 seconds. DRS will be activated at the start of lap 3. At which point, if you want DRS, you need to be within 1 second of the car in front, which at the moment Ross is doing really well. Ghost needs to close a few tenths if he wants to get the DRS advantage of our leader. Assassin is overtaking Block there. You can see a little bit of dust there in the background. Probably Assassin and Block going side by side. APS Appy's had an absolute flyer of a start. Going down the inside now of not only SLR Block, but Cool Assassin into turn 1. Last of the late breakers is Alpine versus Ferrari. Very good space left there by both drivers. And Cool Assassin late on the brakes, using the outside run in turn 1 to his advantage, keeping hold of his 5th. And SLR Block is sideways coming out of turn whatever it's called. No nose at all now for the AlphaTauri, who have to come into the pits and fit a new one. You just saw there losing it at the back. Could have been some contact with another driver, but definitely Block fortunate. His race is not over on lap 2. Again, this is very common for street circuits for this kind of thing to happen. Wiggles is now recovering from his poor lap 1, and it looks like a bit of understeer there for the second AlphaTauri of Pete. It looks like he's got a bit of damage on his AlphaTauri. Wiggles attacking Chives, who has made his way up from 18th. That'll be a warning for Chives, most likely, as he looks to get past the Alpine of Dr. Edward, who is currently holding P9. Rapid Supra, meanwhile, is trying to go for a move on Kemmets down the outside into the final corner. You can go side by side here, as these drivers are proving very clean racing by the pair of them, as SLR Corner sets a new fastest lap of the race. Lap 3, DRS is now enabled. Not down this straight though, this is still technically part of lap 2. However, on this lap, drivers will be jockeying for position and trying to stay within a second of the car in front. So far, Ross has made his way past Ghost, in fact, in the last few moments. Apologies for missing that. He is now in second place. Ghost is still sticking within that 1 second window of the Alfa Romeo. Second Alfa Romeo Supra having a nice start up to 7th place. Also is APS Appy. This is a DRS zone here. You can see the wing is wide open at the back. Cool Assassin going a little bit wide there through turn 13, but not losing out too much at all. Padge with the first time penalty in terms of track limits. SLR block and tidy his bear into the pits, fitting a new front wing, it would appear. Previn Samp also making pit stops in the first couple of laps, but of course safety car comes out, bunches the field together, and you're back in the race. Beautiful camera angles there through sector 3, really dynamic here as Ghost using DRS in the approach to the final corner. These two have an opportunity now to try and DRS each other closer to our race leader, of course, but the closer you are to the car in front, the more time you tend to lose. And of course, when you fight another driver, you do tend to lose time on everyone else. But these two have an opportunity now to try and DRS each other, basically closer to our race leader. We'll have to wait and see if that actually happens or not, or whether that's just a theory. Flew is in P4 and having a nice race. Doing France proud tonight, as I'm sure they'll be backing the French team as they're in the Winter Olympics. Appy, a little touch of the wall there into the S section. A little bit wide there as well. Probably would have got a warning for that. Set fastest lap of the race on brand new tyres. Cool Assassin is definitely looking racy. He's also got Rapid Supra and Kemmets behind him, so he needs to be careful he doesn't lose too much time to Appy and lose out on his 6th place that he's currently holding. A little bit of a challenging corner for Assassin, and Rapid Supra is now turning into the hitman, as it were, trying to get past into 6th. Ross and Ghost fighting all the more, and it looks like they're losing time to our race leader instead of gaining time. Flew, meanwhile, is only a second behind and could easily find himself with DRS coming out of the final corner. Looks like Flew actually does have DRS. So these two fighting is bringing Flew back into the podium picture. Plenty of action behind, as Cool Assassin is ahead of Appy, but Appy now using DRS to get back alongside Assassin. We've already seen these two go side by side in sector 1. Appy going for a switchback. Supra looking to get past, but no change in position. This is great racing. I've been on record as saying that this no assist here at IIRL is the best for wheel-to-wheel racing. Without contact, these drivers very, very aware of their surroundings. Chives into the pits in 17th place. New set of tyres for him. Lots of battles up and down the field. This is the closest fight on track. 4 drivers battling for 5th place, as Ross has a time penalty in the last lap or so. That's going to hinder his progress for podium as it stands. Flew is only 1 second behind, but still 20 laps left of this race. Anything can still happen. Cool Assassin just being a little bit wide there in that chicane, and it's allowing Appy a perfect opportunity to get past. And there comes Supra, forcing his way down the middle of both drivers. Again, just another example of how respectful these drivers are in IIRL. But now Supra is going to find himself very vulnerable, weaving to the left and to the right to try and break the slipstream of the cars behind. And here comes Appy down the inside. Careful on the brakes. Very respectful. Again, Appy swings it around the outside and gets the move done. Appy's up into 5th, but as we know, it's can you keep hold of 5th? That is the problem, as SLR Block gets a time penalty for track limits, and a big fight going on here between Ross, Ghost and Flew, and here comes Flew. Even though Ghost has DRS in front of him, Flew is fancying a move up the inside into turn 13. And yeah, this is absolutely great racing, and if this is anything to go by, join us on Thursday and Sunday nights for more of the same, I'm sure. Ross has that time penalty. Gap out front is 5.7 seconds, definitely looking like Connor has a distinct advantage to win this race. He doesn't need to do anything too silly out in front. He's got a big enough gap as Dr. Edward finds himself falling down the field and is perhaps in the barrier, perhaps. Also, Pete is losing out to that guy who's had a monster start. He's up 11 places off the start, and Pete has retired from the race. Is that going to bring out a safety car? Yes, it is. So, I have a chance to catch my breath. Pete is out of this race on lap 6 of 25, and everyone is now coming into the pits. This is pretty much perfect for the soft runners. In fact, everyone may be in now for a set of hard tyres. Waiting to see if those mediums can do 20 laps. In fact, Flew is onto the mediums. Let's see what Rapid Supra does as he waits for his teammate. He's going to lose some big positions here. And Ross, I think, is changing his front wing. There's a long pit stop there from Ross. He finds himself behind Cool Assassin, no less. Behind Ghost, who's lost out to Appy. And Flew is now first place in terms of those who have pitted. Interesting, SL O'Connor has stayed out, as has Kemmets and that guy. Unfortunately, Pete's race is over, which is a shame. Dr. Edward hasn't pitted, finds himself slap bang in the middle of a new medium sandwich, ranging from 4th placed Flew to 18th placed SLR Block. Dr. Edward may have a distinct tyre disadvantage in the coming laps. Thaddeus Bear now has been brought back into this race. SLR Connor does pit. He's noticed that everyone has pitted behind him. And Kemmets and that guy can't go onto a set of medium compound tyres here because they've already used the set of mediums. They need to use 2 different compounds. That guy, I'm sure, will be coming round to take the lead and box onto the softs later in the race. But for SLR Connor and Kemmets, they are coming into the pits. SLR Connor comes onto the mediums, as we expected. Kemmets is onto the softs in what I can only describe as a 2-stop. Connor is ahead of Flew, and Kemmets has the jump on Appy. That's unexpected. Hadge doing well, 13th place for him in the McLaren. Drops out of Q1 and having some wheel troubles, but having a good race so far. Making some moves on the field. Still plenty of time before Thaddeus Bear will be catching up to the back of the pack, so if you need a cup of tea, now's a good time. But take your phone with you. You don't want to miss anything here. So that guy leads, but due to the fact he hasn't pitted, Kemmets is the only one on a new set of soft compound tyres. I'm going to have a look on the race director for those who have done medium, which is no one. So no one has made the mistake of going on to another set of medium tyres and has forced their hand into going into another set of tyres at the end. So that is good awareness from everyone. But it's going to leave that guy, Dr. Edward, very vulnerable off the restart. They've probably got about 20%, maybe 30% tyre wear on their tyres right now. And it looks like Ghost has had to replace his front wing, and that's why he's dropped to 6th. He was in a good battle with Ross and Flew, and for those eagle-eyed viewers, Ross has now dropped to 9th, which means as it stands, AMS Fairley will be crowned Drivers' Champion tonight. Ross, of course, needs to really get 5th or above to take the title challenge to next race finale. As the field looks to get bunched up, drivers need to warm their tyres. Don't have cold tyres on the restart, especially with a long run down to turn 1 out of the final corner. Interesting to see how that guy in the Aston Martin plays this restart. We'll have a look at the change in position, and currently it's a last to first challenge for that guy. Started at the back, finds himself at the front. Very rarely you see that. Flew has had an excellent race so far. Up 5 places off his starting grid, up into the podium slots. Cummins is up 8 after dropping out in Q2, which was a little bit of a shock for us. APS Happy as well, dropping out in Q2, but having a great race so far. Ghost pitting for damage. He's dropped a few places, as has Ross. Cool Assassin, Dr. Edward and APS Dayman. 3 drivers taking advantage of that. Also, Padge is up 6. Shines is up a couple of places, although he did have an early pit stop. This safety car has brought him, Semp, Prev, Block and Tidy Spare all back into the picture. We now have 19 drivers in a massive queue on a very tight street circuit, where potentially the Drivers' Championship could be decided, as Ryan in 14th gets a 5-second time penalty for a collision with Semp under safety car conditions. You can get those removed in the stewards, providing it's not your fault, of course. If it is your fault, then the penalty will stand, and you may get an added bonus penalty onto it. Lap 10 of 25, still not even at half race distance yet. There's still plenty of action left. Thaddeus Bear now just catching up to the back of the pack. Safety car will be in at the end of this lap. And that guy driving around behind the safety car, ironically not being safe at all, with no helmet on in his cockpit. What a lovely glitch Codemasters have blessed us with tonight. So there you have it. That guy, Dr. Edward, yet to stop. They have to make a stop in this race, otherwise they will be disqualified. So they are going to lose 20 seconds at some point after this safety car restart. Doesn't mean they're out of the race. It means they do have a distinct disadvantage. Clements, those soft tyres won't last the rest of the race, you'd feel, so he's probably going to box for another set of softs in maybe 7 or 8 laps. Or maybe he's taking those soft to the end, who knows. As for penalties, that guy Ross, Padge, Ryan, Semp, Chives and Essela Block all getting some time penalties in the early 10 laps of this race. And as the safety car has bunched everyone up, those time penalties are going to be even more crucial, as there are less laps to build a gap to the car behind. Safety car is in. That guy is now the leading car. He becomes the makeshift safety car. Safety car coming around the final corner now. Interesting to see when the Aston Martin driver will go. Of course, you don't want to go too quickly off this final corner because then you're allowing all the drivers behind a massive slipstream, although he's not gone yet. I thought he went, but he hasn't. He's gone now. And it's very congested. Drivers jockeying for position. They're going 3 wide there. Ghost trying to look down the inside of Appy. Ghost is past Call Assassin. Dr. Edward losing out to Ross, and Dayman is Dr. Edward, and Mr. Wiggles, both house drivers overtaking the Alpine into turn 1. And Chives is out off the safety car restart. There may not be a safety car here because the field is already past that incident, but Chives unfortunately is out on the restart. Ross has had a great restart. He's up to 7th place, up 2 places already on the opening lap of this restart. And that's O'Connor now trying to use his distinct tyre advantage to get down the inside at turn 13. That guy a little bit wide, and he has his teammate now behind him. Oh, what happened, Chives? Let us know what happened, mate. We didn't quite catch what happened in the background. Many drivers separated by 1/10 of a second. We've got Kemmons right behind Flew, and Ghost is now right behind us. Rapid Supra is now out of the race, and that is coming out of the second chicane. Ghost trying to go side by side with Kemmons. Kemmons is on the soft tyre meanwhile, so it's going to be even harder to get past. There he goes, an audacious move down the inside of the final corner. Appy's on the outside. He's had to back off a little, and that meant Ross has had the nice cutback on the Ferrari into the final corner. It's all going on. There is so much action here. I don't even know what to say. Ross is trying to go down the inside of Appy. Oh, and Appy misses his braking point, and he's hit Kemmons. Kemmons is around. A little bit of an unforced error there from Appy. It looks like he tried to brake as late as he could, trying to defend his position from Ross, and unfortunately for Kemmons, he has gone off the track and has lost his 4th place. So O'Connor leads this race. He's past that guy. That guy's still ahead of his teammate now. Thaddeus Bear now has retired in sector 1. They're dropping like flies, and there is another safety car out on track. Well, that safety car restart was something to I don't want to say be impressed by, but it was certainly hectic and manic. SL O'Connor has retaken the lead. That guy still is ahead of his teammate in 2nd, and for him and Dr. Edward, they could box onto the soft compound tyres this lap, catch up to the back of the field, and maybe have a good tyre advantage come the end of the race. But, yeah, we saw a couple of incidents there. Super and Thaddeus Bear retiring under this safety, just before this safety car, as into the pits does come that guy, and he gets a 5-second penalty. That's a little bit careless, you'd think. Rule number 1, don't get a time penalty into the pits. That guy, Semp, Dr. Edward, Kemmons, and Appy all into the pits. Appy getting some damage there on his front wing, you can just see. And all of these, I'm sure, will be in for a new set of soft tyres, although Lil Semp is out on the medium tyres. So perhaps he doesn't think the soft tyres will go the end of the race comfortably. Yeah, we just saw a contact there between Appy and Kemmons. Appy trying to defend his position around the outside of turn 1 on Ross. Kemmons was too busy getting overtaken by Ghost, who is in P3. And just a bit of contact there between Appy and Kemmons. And Kemmons now finds himself in 14th place. And with a dream in his head, still in this race. A minor setback, still at least 10 laps of racing we are going to have tonight. This, of course, the top 11 now are on identical tyre situations. Mr. Wiggles may have a few more percent than everyone else, and SL O'Connor may have a few less percent than everyone else, but all on identical strategies. Supra so disappointed, full battery and P5 to P13, having to pit behind my teammate, lost the rhythm behind the midfield on the restart, crashed in the dirty air. The softs will make the end from here easy and be much faster. Thank you for your insight, and of course very unfortunate that you have retired very early. Indeed, on this game, if I may say so, dirty air sucks. Big time. Massively, massively sucks. And, oh, Ghost with a 5-second penalty. Collision with Flu, who is in second place. Looks like there's a bit of lag going on for the Red Bull. I'm not sure if you just saw that. I have to, we'll stay on board with Ross through this lap and just see if that Red Bull is indeed lagging a little bit. Yeah, very unfortunate for Supra to retire. Tidy Bear scoring points in the last 2 races. Unfortunately can't make it 3 out of 3. His race has come to an end, which has brought out this safety car. Doesn't look like Ghost is lagging. Maybe it's something on my screen. Tamino hit the butt Flu, and Flu got a 5-second penalty. You can submit a clip if you've clipped it of you getting a 5-second penalty and it's not your fault. You can submit it to the stewards, and the stewards can remove it if indeed it's not that driver's fault. So it's not the end of the world here for Flu. He doesn't have to pit again, which means that 5-second time penalty will be added onto his final time, as the same for Ghost. If it's a game issue and really it's neither of the driver's fault, they could get both the penalties removed. 1010, the no assist steward, is a very fair and kind steward. I'm sure he will do the right thing. Safety car is in this lap. That's the safety car coming around the final corner now. SL O'Connor is a little bit further behind the safety car than that guy was on the restart. And when O'Connor go for it, SL O'Connor now has a slight tap under safety car with Flu. Again, same thing. If it's not their fault, they'll get them removed if they send them into the stewards. And Ryan and Block have retired on the final corner. There's a big pile-up actually, with the likes of Edward, Kem, Sepp and Appy have lost a lot of time. But Ryan and Block seems to have had a little collision on the final corner, and both are out of this race on lap 14. And Mr. Wiggles has now gone in sector 1. They are dropping like flies here tonight. SL O'Connor leads off the safety car restart, and he seems to have got that restart done to a T. But he does have now a 5-second penalty. Goes to Mino now with a 3-second time penalty for multiple track extensions. All these time penalties are going to be costworthy at the end. That guy now with a time penalty, bringing his total up to 11 seconds. So O'Connor leads Flu, who leads Ross. Ross, of course, needs to finish in the top 5. Otherwise his title charge for the season will be over. But Ross does have a 3-second time penalty to his name, so he needs to make sure he's 3 seconds ahead of Cool Assassin and if possible Ghost as well, in order to keep his spot on the podium. And Flu has 10 seconds and O'Connor has 5 seconds. So Ross is in a nice little spot here if he wants to win this race. As Ghost pits. Ghost, I'm sure, will be hoping to serve that time penalty. He's on to a new set of soft tyres, possibly going for a fastest lap, possibly serving his time penalty, and a new front wing, so that is why he is pitting. Ross would have got a warning for that, just running over the curb there, although that is the corner where you can get away with it sometimes. Page now with a time penalty. Little Semp also joins Ghost in the pits. Kemmets has passed Dr. Edward now, and Page is dropping a couple of places in Sector 2. He's down to 9th from 7th. Mr. Wiggles, what happened, mate? Was it lost the back end in Sector 1? Here comes Ross, now attacking Flew. Will he get this move done before the chicane? Very limited space to go around the outside there. Of course, no DRS until lap 3 after the safety car restart. And by now, SLR Connor's already got a 2-second lead. Cool Assassin, meanwhile, is now 3 seconds behind Ross. And now Cool Assassin has a time penalty to his name. Prev in 5th, looking good right now to try and get a past Cool Assassin. On track and on time penalties. In fact, DRS is now enabled. My apologies for getting that one slightly wrong. Here comes Ross. Will he make a move on Flew into the first corner? No, he won't. Kemmets with the new fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 30.7. Now we'll have to wait if Ghost can beat that on a new set of soft tyres. Page with another time penalty. Wonder if his force feedback's gone. Kemmets making moves up the field. He went past Dr. Edward last lap, and now he's right on the back of APS Dayman. In 6th place, Dayman without a penalty. And doing well. Has gained a lot of places. That guy is now past Page and into the points. Now Page struggling as the yellow flag is in Sector 1, so I reckon Page has maybe lost some force feedback in his wheel. He's had wheel problems all day today, which is such a shame, and he's had a great race so far. This is the closest fight on track, although Kemmets is all over the back of Dayman. We'll pick up with Ross. Ross does have DRS now, coming up to final corner. SLR leads Flew by 2.4 seconds. But of course, nothing is certain yet because Connor and Flew have been given some time penalties and the safety car. Have to wait and see if they will be taken off by the steward. But for now, Ross is within striking distance of the lead. 2.1 seconds now. That DRS does make a massive difference on this track down that main straight. There's lots of shifting in turn 1. Prev is past Assassin up into 4th. Dayman losing out to Kemmets and Dr. Edward now. And now has APS Appy all over the back of him for 8th. Don't forget Dayman is on old mediums and running wide. And just gets out of the way there of Appy. Good respect there from Dayman. See how easy it is just to lose the car with old tyres. That guy comes into the pits, where he will serve a time penalty for speeding in the pit lane and fit a front wing, I think. Ghost also into the pits, where he retires. So Ross is now past Flew. Flew has dropped out of his DRS range. Means that there is no one within DRS range up until you get to APS Appy in 8th place. Cool Assassin looking to stay within striking distance of Prev. Prev has just got past Assassin on this lap. Lap 18 of 25. Page comes into the pits. Where I think he is about to be lapped by most of the field. APS Appy using DRS to his advantage, getting past Dr. Edward there at the final start-finish straight. Starting lap 19 now in 7th place is APS Appy. It's teammate Prev is up in 4th and is the highest runner without a time penalty. That may come back to really aid him in the latter stages of this race. Flew has 10 seconds of time penalties, Ross has 3, and Essel O'Connor has 5. Cool Assassin has 3 seconds, I think Kemets also has 3 seconds, and so does APS Appy. So Dr. Edward is still within striking distance here of a couple of places if he can stay within 3 seconds of Kemets and Appy. Gap out front, stabilising, 2.3, 2.4 seconds now between Essel O'Connor and Ross. And Kemets is retired. Oh, what a big crash. Kemets, Dayman is just coming up to it. You see debris everywhere, his car's in the middle of the track. That is... Oh, Dayman's retired. What's happened to Dayman? I wonder if Dayman has run over some debris there and got a puncture. Or... And maybe that puncture has sent him into the wall. I wonder if Dayman, if he's in the chat, I wonder if he can confirm that. I reckon that might be a solid theory, you know. Running over some debris there. And that puncture could easily have sent him flying into a wall at 170, 180 miles an hour there. If that is true, that is rotten luck for Dayman, who was having a fantastic race up until this point. Safety car is now out. For every driver with a time penalty, this is bad news. For Prev, he is licking his lips. Oh man, I was right. That is so unlucky, Dayman. We did see in the back, we don't know how Kemets retired, but we did see, if you watch the stream back and slow it down a little bit, you can sort of see bits of debris flying into the air. Kemets just hitting the wall and Dayman running over it, getting so unlucky with the puncture. I have to say, that is absolutely rotten luck. Definitely deserved some points tonight for Haas, did Dayman. Absolutely, mate, I would be absolutely fuming too. I'm pretty sure every single person watching this is sending you sympathy right now. That is cruel luck. Really is. Some chat in Discord. I'm just going to have a look and see what's going on. See if we can find out more, maybe, about why Kemets retired. I think it may have been contact between Ghost and Kemets. Oh no, that was... I don't think that was why Kemets retired, but there was a bit of contact between Ghost and Kemets. And that's why we see Ghost changing his front wing before he retires. Every single driver now will receive points for finishing the race. Connor 20 seconds under Delta, under safety car. It's a strange one, you don't see that every day. But maybe Connor trying to take advantage of this safety car and try to extend his tyre life as much as possible. And I'm guessing with Wiggles out of the race, I'm sure he would have been told that's the case by Ross. He was in P3. We'll get up the penalty situation because I'm sure the safety car will be in maybe at the end of this lap, if not the end of next lap. And then it will be a 3 or 4 lap sprint till the end. Let's not forget, we do have some people that have pitted on this safety car. We've got Cool Assassin, Dr. Edward, 6th and 7th on brand new set of soft tyres. And Dr. Edward doesn't have any time penalties to his name right now. So this could be a late charge to the podium for Dr. Edward and Cool Assassin as well, both in the Alpine cars. This will be crucial for constructors. They have the penalty situation. Connor and Flew. A load of questions need to be answered as to whether they'll keep those time penalties or whether they will get them removed if they're not their driver's fault. Safety car, very late call to come in. However, we will be getting underway very, very shortly. Ross and Flew just overtaking each other momentarily, but back to normal now. As for SLR Connor, when would he go for it? He's gone for it now. And here comes Flew and Ross. They are side by side now into turn 1. Prev waiting in the wings in Ferrari. His teammate Appy is behind him in P5. Good day for Ferrari so far, but still a few laps left of this race. Ross trying to go for a switchback, and it looks like it's a decent move, but not quite alongside. Is Ross trying to go around the outside? Bit of wheel contact between the two. Oh, and Flew is off. That contact seemed harmless, but was very critical for Flew's race as he drops right to the back and indeed retires from the Grand Prix. Desperately unlucky for Flew, perhaps. We don't really know what happened. We weren't on board with the two drivers, but Flew, the latest to drop out of the race. I have to say, up until that retirement, he was driving an absolute blinder. Ross now has 6 seconds of time penalties, where we thought he only had 3. SLR Connor has served 5 seconds in the pits. So that one, I don't think can be contested. Oh no, SLR Connor only had 5, sorry, that was Flew who had 10, my bad. A Prev now could be a shock race winner. SLR Connor has had the pace all night. That 1 5-second time penalty could be enough to haunt him and rob him of a well-deserved race victory here. Let us know in the chat, who are your nominations for driver of the day? I think Prev is up there, keeping it clean and gaining ground after a nightmare first lap where he dropped a load of places to the back. Also, SLR Connor has shown that he has had the pace and consistency to win tonight. Dr. Edward will have to wait and see where he finishes, but he doesn't have any time penalties, and he has got a brand new set of rubber behind 5 cars make that. 4 of those cars have time penalties. Cool Assassin is now making his way past APS Appy. They are side by side. Cool Assassin forced wide there with the George Russell number 63 helmet. Interesting to see if that is an illegal overtake. Maybe Assassin will have to give that one back. But it's very close and very congested. This is the battle for the final podium spot, and Prev currently has the advantage. But as we know, and as we've seen with Flew just a few moments ago, nothing is certain until you cross that finish line. Semp now down the inside of that guy, and they're still going side by side. The DRS is now active. It won't be available on this straight they're on right now, but for the next lap it will be available. Cool Assassin going side by side with yet another Ferrari. This time Prev. Assassin trying to get up into the podium spot. A little bit of a wheel barge, and there we see Prev has run wide. Cool Assassin force wide too. Happy with a little bit of contact with Assassin. It's all very congested out there in Sector 1. You need good rhythm to go through Sector 1, especially in the race as we see more drivers going wide in that S section. Lil Semp and I think Dr. Edward, who has made his way up into 6th place now. Good night, Flo, mate. Sorry to see how your race ended, but you had an absolute stormer tonight, so you should hold your head up, mate. Connor leads Ross by 2.1 seconds. Prev is within the 6 seconds he needs to overtake Ross on the line. Ross will be hoping that this battle goes on for ages, so Ross can try and gain an advantage on Prev. Lap 24 of 25, SLR Connor coming around the final corner now to start the final lap of the Grand Prix, And there goes Cool Assassin, last of the late breakers, round the outside of the final corner. That is a fabulous move. Oh, and a retirement. Lil Seb just getting a little bit of an oversteer out of the final corner into that guy who retires into the wall. Very unfortunate for the Aston Martin, but he still will be classified and get points. And it looks like Appy and Cool Assassin again coming together. Prev running a little bit wide, and now Appy's forced into the wall by the Alpine of Assassin. It's all going on here tonight. Very tight margins. Very small fractions. These can cost a race. These can cost you multiple points in the World Championship. And it just seems like there's a frantic rush out there to try and gain as many positions as possible before the end of the race. SLR Connor coming through Sector 2. He has a 3-second lead on Ross, and no doubt he will win this Grand Prix. Even with that 5-second penalty, he will win. Prev, if he can avoid losing a second to Ross in this sector, he will jump ahead of Ross up into second. Cool Assassin will lose a place to Edward, so he will finish 5th, and Edward will jump up to 4th. I think Ross will keep the podium. But here comes Cool Assassin, he's not giving up on it now, past Prev. Dr. Edward now fighting for the line. SLR going to come in across the line to win the Jeddah Grand Prix. He has a 5-second time penalty, but it won't matter. Ross comes to finish 2nd on track, but Cool Assassin will come home to finish 5th. Dr. Edward, in fact, will jump Ross on the line to steal away Ross's podium. Prev finishes in 2nd, as we thought. Lil Semp in 6th, and Appy in 7th. Wow. I need to gain my get my breath back after that. That was very, very interesting. Time penalties, it seemed, would be very key at the end. SLR Connor wins, even with his 5-second time penalty, which we don't know if it was his fault or not. He wins, rightfully so, deserved winner. Great pace throughout, good pace and quality, and great consistency in the race. He takes the race win. Prev jumps ahead of Ross, and so does Dr. Edward on time penalties. And Ross manages to just lose out on a podium. That means that Ross has scored 12 points here tonight, and that has reduced the gap at the top to 22 points. Ross needs to win next week and hope that Fairley finishes 9th or lower if Ross is to win the championship. Cool Assassin, you saw it involved in massive fights with Ferraris all night. He finishes in 5th. Lil Semp is in 6th. On his first start in no assist, you'd have to say it's a very good drive there from the Mercedes. And useful points for the constructors too. APS Appy finishes in 7th. Padge is still classified and will get 4 points. That guy's still classified as well and will get 1 point as well. Flew, APS Dayman, Kemments, Ghost Tamino, Mr. Wiggles, Ryan, SLR Block, Tidiest Bear, Rapid Supra, Chives and Pete, all unfortunately with retirements. Fairley will be racing next week, and he will be talking in the 3rd person, so we will be looking forward to that. Gap at the top is 22 points now. Fairley, all he needs is a 7th place finish or higher to take the championship. But of course, at Abu Dhabi, anything is possible. Time penalties are common, crashes are common, and yeah, you'll have to wait until next week where we will crown a new no assist Tier 1 champion. As always, join us on Thursday and Sunday for some more racing. The championships may be decided, but the racing never stops, and I'm sure the action will be just as frantic, just as exhilarating as tonight. So join us on Thursday and Sunday nights respectively for some more IRL racing, and join us next week for the championship decider at Abu Dhabi. I will see you next time on IRL.